2, 1.
Good evening. Chair calls to order a public hearing for Resolution 027-20, MS4 Financial Assurance Plan 2020. Council, this evening we recognize and welcome Ms. Christine Buckley, Program Manager, for the presentation. Good evening, Christine.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here this evening. I am here and I think that I have my presentation that we'll be sharing. We are here this evening to discuss resolution number 027-20, Financial Assurance Plan, or also called FAP. Next. I am the program manager for the Watershed Protection and Restoration Office within the Department of Public Works. Our mission is to improve the health of the streams, rivers, lakes, and estuaries located within Hartford County. We have a website established, and if you're interested in more information, here is the link at the bottom of the page. Next. Each year we put together an annual report. This is annual report for fiscal year 2019. We're currently working on our 2020 report. It summarizes all of the work that we do for our program. And within that is a nice introduction that gives you a little bit of the background of how our program became established. And that information is also replicated in most cases within the Financial Assurance Plan narrative section. Next slide, please. A few dates that are significant for our program. 1972, the Clean Water Act was adopted. One of the drivers is the Cuyahoga River fire that happened in 1969, where the river actually caught on fire. If you Google it, it's a pretty interesting story. But the main point is that established the Industrial Point Source Permit Program. In 1987, the amendments to the Clean Water Act also added a storm drain or storm sewer system to that permitting process. Our program abbreviation is MS4, which stands for municipal, and then the 4 S's, separate storm sewer system or storm drain systems. In 1994, Hartford County received its first MS4 permit, and it was reissued in 1999, 2004, and 2014. In Maryland, the MS4 program is administered by the Maryland Department of the Environment. It is a national program, so there are MS4 jurisdictions all across the United States. In 2012, the Maryland House Bill 987 was adopted, which required MS4 communities to establish a stormwater utility fee. In 2015, Hartford County Resolution 005-15 was adopted, which established a dedicated funding source for implementation of the MS4 program, and those funds are a portion of the recordation tax. In 2015 also, about a month after our Hartford County resolution, Maryland Senate Bill 863 was adopted, which rescinded the requirement for the stormwater utility fee, but established the financial assurance plan submittals, which we are discussing today. Next slide, please. Within the financial assurance plan, I've listed the 3 fiscal years of funding that we have for our capital projects. The demonstration of financial capacity to implement the restoration component of the MS4 permit is the purpose for the financial assurance plan. And the restoration component by far is the largest and most expensive piece of the permit program. There are other pieces that go to it, but these are focused solely on restoring water quality. The first 2, the PAYGO and the future bonds, are from that recordation tax, and the proposed grants are grants that we are hoping to receive in the future. Next slide, please. Within the financial assurance plan, there are 5 tables. Those tables are printed out from a spreadsheet that was provided by the Maryland Department of the Environment to the MS4 communities for us to complete. The ones shown here are our completed restorations. Some of those examples include credits for septic pumping, stream restorations, tree plantings, as well as new stormwater management facilities and upgrades to existing stormwater management facilities. Next slide. We also have a list of what our proposed restoration projects are, all within the same similar categories as our completed projects. Both of those tables establish what types of credits we anticipate for the proposed projects, as well as costs and what the status is, in some cases, planning, design complete or complete. Next slide, please. One of the slides that pull the information together compares what our annual revenue is proposed over the next 5 years. That anticipated revenue are the numbers that replicate our capital budget proposals for the 5-year period of time, as well as annual costs towards implementation of those restoration projects based on those proposed projects. And we compare the annual revenue to the costs, and MDE, or Maryland Department of the Environment, compares whether we have adequate funding to complete those projects as proposed. Within the financial assurance plan, we have all 5 of those tables for review, as well as a narrative that describes the program, a little bit of the background of the history of the program, and the capacity that we have established as well. That concludes my presentation. If there are any questions from the council members, I'll be willing to answer those for you this evening.
Thank you, Christine. Council, your time for questions. Anyone? Mr. Wagner?
Looking at the financial assurance plan that demonstrates the where the money is coming from, just 2 questions. You've got proposed grants. They seem to be steady at $4 million. What has it been in the past?
We estimate the $4 million to allow us to have the capacity within the budget to accept grants within various capital accounts. We've been averaging roughly $2 million in grants, and we have just in the past been working through Maryland Department of Natural Resources for that grant funding.
Okay, and the source of funding showing the recordation tax, what is there a percentage that's set for that goes to you?
There is. It was established in that resolution 005. I don't know off the top of my head what that percentage is.
Okay.
This is Robbie. It's 1/6 of the revenue collection, so it's 55 cents per $500.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Councilman James Giordano? Need to turn your mic on, sir. Anyone else while he's trying to navigate through that? Mr. Schroeds?
Yes, hi, Christine. It's great to see you. You do a fantastic job with this program. I was just wondering, how are we doing statewide? You know, is the folks at the state level happy with what we're doing with these capital projects and restorations and such, as well as the Chesapeake Bay Foundation? I can remember when you had some of the dates up there, but the number that they wanted us to hit was a lot more than you know, what we're doing annually, and we kind of thought that was you know, too much money. But you know, this is much less than what they wanted us to do. However, I kind of feel that we're doing a great job with the money that we have, and I really can't imagine that we would spend any more towards this, and it does kind of match up well with the revenue that we're bringing in. But you know, how does that you know, are we hitting the mark in the state level, and amongst other jurisdictions? Just if you could answer that.
Sure. It's kind of a multi-question response to what you're asking. We have in the past said that what the state is requiring is really past what we feel is our capacity. And through some of the legal actions that we've been through in the past, I think we have convinced Maryland Department of the Environment that instead of just picking a number to hit, that the financial capacity as well as the ability to complete a certain amount of work in a short period of time. The permits are only 5 years long. They worked through permit renewals with the 5 large jurisdictions within Maryland. And that's what they did with the 5 larges in order to establish their permit requirements. The large permits are out right now for public comment. The mediums, which Hartford County is part of, will follow up after that process has been completed. But that is part of the process, and by working through some of those legal avenues, we did encourage the Department of the Environment to take that more into consideration than they had in the past. I'm not sure what our requirements will be for our permits. And they're always trying to, push harder for more restoration. The developed community, by and large, is the most expensive restoration out of all of the different sectors within the Chesapeake Bay and the restoration. And as you move towards completing more and more restoration, the cheaper options start to kind of, get taken off of the list, and you have to start looking at more expensive ones. So we're all, as a community of 10, working towards finding different ways to make those projects cheaper. We have had the abilities with the recordation tax to really bundle larger projects together and have the abilities to take advantage of economies of scale, where our project costs have really been coming down when you look at the amount of costs per credit that we're getting. So the recordation tax and the dedicated funding really was a very big benefit for our program.
Right. Thank you.
Mr. Giangiordano?
Okay, we got it. Christine, thank you very much. Interesting background. I feel like I'm looking at mountains, but they're not really mountains. So question, I see that this talks about the Bear Cabin Ranch stream restoration, but I know that I have a stream restoration project in Bel Air that's forthcoming. I don't see that. Is that, you're not listing all the different ones, or is that something totally different?
The Bear Cabin project is just simply a background that I added to my slides. So each of the slides has a background for our Bear Cabin project. Just one of the completed projects that had a lot of very nice photos to it. So are you meaning in the slides themselves or within the financial assurance plan?
Well, the financial assurance plan, I was trying to look through here to see if my plan project in Bel Air, and I did not see that. Now, I might have missed it, or it might not be here, so I just didn't know the date of when that was going to start to proceed. And maybe you can expand on that. It's the I think it's Sunnyvale or Sunnydale in Bel Air.
Mm-hmm.
Sunnyview.
Yeah, the proposed projects aren't specifically listed by name within the financial assurance plan. So that's one of the proposed projects, and that is approximately 95% complete on the design side, and we're currently working through easement discussions with the property owners.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's what I wanted to know. I appreciate all your efforts, and happy holidays to you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And a Merry Christmas. And a Merry Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Mr.
pro. Um,
That's not part of how the state sets up the spreadsheets. So what they do is have identifying codes that are associated with them. Within the spreadsheet that I use, I associate the particular projects in each of those cases. That's not something that I added to the financial assurance plan, but it's absolutely something that I can add in future plans. Our plans are required every 2 years to be submitted and reviewed by council. All of our projects are listed on our website. If you're interested in completed projects as well as our active projects, you can take a look there for those.
Right. And I also know that they're in our capital budget, where you can see the descriptions and everything, but it does seem like as we're looking through this report, we see all this money allocated and how it's complete and what phase it's in, but it's like basically. So just full. Okay. You do an amazing job. And your team and our contractors. I mean, the one great thing about these projects is that oftentimes you see local contractors, getting work. Orders. So
Definitely.
but that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, council. Anyone else? Ms. Dixon, do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, Mr. President, we have one. Benjamin Alexandro.
Hello, this is Ben.
Good evening, sir. This is Council President Vincent. May I have your name and address for the record?
Hi, thank you for your call. This is Benjamin Alexandro, and I'm for the Maryland League of Conservation Voters, which is located in Annapolis at 30 West Street, Suite C.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And the amount of compared to have like the and yes, really. Pollution reduction has already happened. Secondly, we're concerned about I just don't think that's a reasonable assumption. Companies to allocate more money, hardworking people at public more projects, and investing this money in pollution reduction also benefits the local jobs. Third is a question about financing projects that don't have a dollar amount next to them, such as sewer connections and septic pump outs. It says it's going to be coming department, maybe Department of Health and whatnot. The financial assurance to give public and the state those assurances that this will happen. So, for example, you're saying that 150 acres worth of septic pump capacity, how do you come to this number, and how can it be clear that that's ensuring that, yes, these other departments, and that will be happening? Because right now it just shows that they will be doing it for $0 pot. And I just don't think that that's as apparent as it could be about how that will actually happen. Of course, I'm a little worried about the reliance on stream restoration. Restoration can be fantastic, great projects, but we're seeing lots of stronger and stronger, especially with climate change, what's been happening in the climate around here, that, if you have a really, really strong storm and you just restore the stream, but you don't look at, that water to slow it down before it goes to the stream, you can really below that stream. That could be a lot of investment. Just whole drainage area going into that. I'd really like to see more things that are upland projects, beautify the community, rain garden, fire retention, and also things outside the stream but near it, like reforesting the area to help slow down that water, filter it out before it gets to that stream, especially in those big storms. I'd be happy to, assessing a number of different financial assurance plans in a number of different towns. So I'd be happy to give any more detail if you have any questions comparing it, contrasting any of these or of any of the points I've made. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for your comments, sir. Is anyone else signed up?
There's no one else signed up, Mr. President.
I want to thank our speaker this evening. I want to thank our council members for their questions. I want to thank Ms. Buckley for your presentation. And this will conclude the public hearing for this evening, and we will look at this at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll pause till 7:30. Thank you.